we're recording. This is our first time with this setup. Really hope that it's going to keep recording all the way through. The screen
We'll
kept
find
turning
out.
off. Anyways,
Wonderful.
so, well, I imagine most people watching this already know us, but I'm Ryan.
Molly.
We're about a month into our 15, maybe more month trip around the world. We're, was it June 17th, 2019? And we left on May 15th, 2019 to Argentina. You want to tell people where we are right now?
We're currently in the middle of nowhere on Easter Island, so it's a part of Chile.
In the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Oh, I thought this was... Just kidding.
Yeah. This is the most remote inhabited island in the world. I think there's like 8,000 people.
Which is nuts, because that feels like way too many people for
Yeah.
this island.
Feels like, well,
It
there's
feels like half.
nothing.
There's at least half that.
Yeah. So we haven't really been keeping up with videos much. We have a few that'll be coming soon. I have a feeling this is going to be the first video that we actually publish, although we've taken sort of random videos as we've gone along, and those will get posted a little later.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, this video is definitely not getting posted today. Our internet connection on this island is like non-existent.
That's what you would expect for the middle of nowhere.
Yes, you can send text
WhatsApp
messages, WhatsApp messages.
Pretty much only WhatsApp messages.
Yeah.
And only text, no images.
Right.
Limited images.
So this will be a longer recap in that we're covering a month of stuff than we expect for future videos. Ideally, we'll be doing them in more frequent occurrences to talk about more stuff, and hopefully that ocean noise isn't too bad. So I guess I'll start. I mean, we landed in Argentina on June 16th. It wasn't so much of an adjustment for me. I'd been there a bunch of times. The most recent time was 5 years ago. I went to my grandparents' place. It was very familiar, very nostalgic, and while the internet's not as good as home, it feels pretty familiar to me. I don't know if you can explain what. I mean, it was probably a lot different for you.
Yeah, it was very intimidating because I didn't speak any Spanish, and Ryan had no problem just like talking to his grandparents and communicating with everyone, and I was feeling very much like definitely culture shock initially, especially because I didn't have like someone else in the same boat as me. It was pretty much just me who didn't understand Spanish, and it was not impossible, just difficult to communicate with his grandparents and, with the remise driver. I mean, it was definitely due to a little sleep deprivation, but that first night I was like close to tears thinking like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? I made a big mistake. I regret it. Let me send me back to Southern California. But no, it turns out it was mostly just sleep deprivation because I woke up the next day feeling great.
Yeah.
And it felt great since.
And all week you were telling me you were ready to move there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, love Argentina.
So I guess that first week, of course, our first thing to do was let's find good quality coffee.
Single origin coffee.
Single origin coffee, pour over, and immediately the first place we found was Lab New American Cuisine.
Straight out of San Francisco.
Sorry, a little sick. Yeah, that was easily, you could have transplanted that place into SF and it would have been right at home. But their coffee selection was great, so I'm glad we did that. The
Not
next
like
thing,
Cova, but pretty decent.
yeah, it's not bad. We found a few decent places actually in Buenos Aires so far. Next thing was finding a place for you to run, to run.
Yeah.
I've gone once. I'll get there.
Yeah, we found it feels like Central Park. It's a big park in the middle of the city.
It's called Bosque de Palermo.
Okay.
It's Palermo Park, basically. But yeah, it's a nice running spot, and we went there on a weekend, and it must have been every single runner in the whole city was running there.
It's very busy.
Yeah, you can't really run on the streets. It's like there've been, the sidewalks, there's like stuff you have to watch out for, there's a lot of traffic, and so that's like a closed off area that you actually have some protection for running in. Yeah, otherwise it was just sort of acclimating to the time schedule a little bit.
Taking it easy.
Yeah, I started working.
I did not.
For those that don't know, I'm still working like part-time-ish hours. So I have to find the time in between days like this.
With good internet.
With good internet.
The stars have to align.
It is not on this island.
In South America.
Yeah, exactly. My grandparents were gracious enough to upgrade their internet plan, and now I'm golden. Well, as long as we're at their place, which is sort of our home base for this leg of the trip in South America. So, yeah, I mean, that was a pretty chill week. After that, we left to Ushuaia, which is
the southern tip of Argentina.
Yeah, it's called the end of the world frequently. There's a Pan-American road that leads from Alaska all the way down the continent, and it ends there in Ushuaia. I think it's the closest city to Antarctica.
I think so.
Yeah. And that was just sort of a trippy experience. You just fly down and you're like, I am as south as can be without being in Antarctica. It was an interesting place because I didn't really expect, I don't know what your feelings were, but it ends up being sort of like a manufacturing type of place. There's a lot of factories there. There's a lot of like shipping that goes on there. So the town itself wasn't actually all that nice. It was a little grimy. I don't know. It just didn't have that much charm to it. There was like a tourist center, but even then it felt meh. It could also be the weather. It was like rainy and cloudy. I don't know, what was your feeling? Cold? It wasn't so cold. It was like high 30s, low 40s.
I know. Yeah. It wasn't that. But it was cold. I was cold.
It was cold. So, I'll let you explain what we did while we were there.
We went to the end of the Pan-American Highway, and then we went the other direction to a bunch of like big lakes, which was cool. And we wanted to go do like a ATV 4x4. Well, I guess not ATV, but like a 4x4 land
Defender, Land Rover Defender off-roading experience.
But the stars didn't align for that, so that was fine.
Yeah, it was still nice. We got a remise driver to tour us around the area. It's just cool landscapes. You know, well, the town wasn't that interesting. It was like these sort of wide, spread apart mountain ranges right by the ocean. Like, I guess it wasn't ocean. It was just a big river that connects into the ocean. It's really worth going down. We really wanted to go back. We got lucky for the most part with the weather. We were able to do a little bit of hiking through that national park. But yeah, we said we definitely need to go back in a different season and take advantage.
Season, definitely.
If you like camping, which I don't, it's a great place to go.
Yeah, and I mean the hiking, I think the trails would have been too muddy. They're not like well maintained. Yeah.
Right.
They're not really like all weather trails, and more like when it's dry and has been dry for the past week. So then we went to El Calafate. We took a flight up there, which is another part of Patagonia, maybe like the middle part.
2-hour-ish flight?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty quick. An hour and a half.
Yeah.
It was pretty quick. We really liked... Well, the first thing we did when we landed in El Calafate was rent a car, which
we did on a whim.
Yeah, it was the best decision we made. It gave us a lot of flexibility and freedom, and, well...
Although, it was funny, because outside the U.S., right, almost every car rental is going to be manual, and we've been preparing for this our whole lives. So... So we got there, and he said, oh, where are you from? Oh, we're American. Oh, do you drive manual? Yeah, both of us. Both of us drive manual. And he's like, oh, I've got a car. Oh, you know what? I'll upgrade you to a midsize and automatic. And I'm like, what? Automatic? So we ended up with our first Toyota Etios, which, as I later discovered, midsize is questionable. It felt roomy to me, but I guess the hierarchy in Toyota is like Camry, Corolla, Yaris, Etios. We don't sell it in the U.S., but I wish we did.
It's great gas mileage.
Yes, it's ridiculous.
1.5 liter engine.
It just goes forever. You feel like that gas tank doesn't budge.
Feels like a hybrid, but it's not.
Yeah, it got absurd gas mileage. So yeah, that was one of the best decisions we made. We were at the airport. We were going to pick up that transfer, and we're like, you know what? Let's just rent a car. Give ourselves some options.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah.
So it's based along the city itself. Well, the city itself.
It's a city. Like 20,000 or so.
Really, that many?
And Calafate, yeah.
Okay. But it's based along this big lake, Lake Argentina, and it definitely had like a more laid back, like cleaner feel to it. More of like a, I don't know, lakeside, lake city.
Yeah, it just
More
felt a little
resort-y.
more like newer, cleaner.
Yeah.
Resorty is not quite the right word because it's not like log cabins up in the mountains, and it's definitely not like beachfront property. But you know, you got the sense that people had vacation homes there. It was pretty well kept. It was a little small towny. It didn't have the griminess that Ushuaia did at all.
Yeah.
I definitely liked it better there. Of course, Ushuaia has 5 times the population and has been there a lot longer.
It's kind of amazing. You can really sense like how quiet it is. I remember getting like when we first got out of the car at our Airbnb, and it was just like just nothing, just the sound of silence. It was beautiful, and even just driving from the airport to the city itself.
Yes.
Was just
It's like placid.
We had this beautiful glacier lake, like, you know, the emerald blue water with these like very dry looking meadows and these like sort of mountains in the distance, and then this just endless blue sky. And these adorable llama alpaca type things, the
Guanacos.
that you have to be careful that you don't hit them. They will jump in front of your car. I think this is more stupid than deer.
Yeah, they definitely like made some attempts. They were like eyeing the car, ready to jump ahead. But yeah, so while we were in El Chalten, we went to in Calafate. We made a day trip to El Chalten. We also went to Perito Moreno Glacier, which is one of the more famous glaciers there. It's pretty impressive. We have a few other videos I think we took there, and it's massive. And anytime, even a little piece, it doesn't look that big, falls off. It's like, you know, thunder. We sort of thought, okay, there's this balcony overlooking it. Some people are saying they spent 3 hours there. We're like, how? You like go, you see it, hour tops, and
Yeah.
it really like spans this whole cliffside, and you get all these different angles and stuff. I think we spent like 4 hours there.
Yeah.
It was a long day there.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Definitely worth it.
Sorry.
And then we drove to, you say it better.
El Chalten.
Yeah. Which was a cool city. We have another video that talks about that. We really liked it there.
Yeah. Also, just make sure you're speaking up enough that we're cutting through the sound of the waves. I'm actually going to check, even though it's weird, to make sure this is recording, because I don't want to record a 20-minute video only to find out it hasn't been recording. You can explain what it was like in El Chalten when I checked this. No?
We already have a video on
Okay.
it.
All right.
It's beautiful. Love the city. Would go back. We talk about its origins and stuff.
Okay. Well, so after El Chalten, we went back to Calafate, and our plan was to chain that together to Bariloche, which is like another 2-hour-ish.
The northern part of Patagonia.
Right in the Andes Mountains. The full name is San Carlos de Bariloche, right?
Sorry, I'm just really distracted right now because they're rounding up the cows.
Oh yeah, I didn't even notice that. There's a man on a horse with a bunch of cows, and they're just wrangling them, which is weird because I thought most of both the horses and cows on this island were wild. They just roam around. There's no tags. There's no collars. There's no fences. They just
He's got a
wander around the
dog.
island.
He's on a horse and he's got a dog. He's rounding up the cows.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, so anyways, we're gonna go to Bariloche, but we discovered this point in the season, because it's wintertime, they don't have direct flights. So we actually were gonna chain our trip together with David, who came to visit us in Argentina for a couple weeks. And so we decided what we'd do is we'd fly back to Buenos Aires, which we had to do. We'd meet him there. We'd fly to Bariloche, spend a week doing Bariloche, Villa Langostura, and San Martín de los Andes, along what's called La Ruta de los Siete Lagos, the Route of the Seven Lakes. So while we were in Calafate, where again, I mean, internet was better than this, but not exceptional by Bariloche in 3 days' time had been canceled, and we didn't know why. And I called.
Limited resources to find out.
Right. So I called, and they said it's been canceled because of a strike. Like, what strike? I looked in the news, couldn't find anything about a strike. Well, it turns out, I talked to my grandparents. They said that a general strike had been called for Argentina on the 29th, which was the day we were supposed to fly. Latam Airlines notified me of the change, and then I asked them, well, can we go the day before or the day after? They said no. All those flights were booked. Apparently, everyone but us knew about this strike because they were booking around it. And so the closest flight we could get was a few days later. So I figured, okay, let's hold off. We'll see what happens. Deal with it later. Worst case, we had travel insurance. I called them, and they said they'd, be on the lookout. They could rebook us or whatever. So we flew back to Buenos Aires, and David met us there the next day. But in the meantime, Latam had automatically pushed our flight by 2 days and booked us for one, so I had him do the same thing. I emailed all our Airbnbs. We planned a car rental.
Pretty flexible. Everyone was pretty flexible.
Everyone was fine, except we had purchased the flight from Buenos Aires to Bariloche and then the return flight separately, both on Latam. And when I called them to change it, they said it would cost $90 for us to change the second flight. And I said, you guys are the ones who canceled my first flight, thus pushing my trip forward by 2 days. They said, yeah, but you didn't buy the trips together, so there's nothing we can do. So even though Latam was the one who canceled the flights, they were the only ones who ended up charging us any money for the change of itinerary. So still have to file a claim with travel insurance for that. It's not a fortune, it's just a matter of principle.
Yeah.
So, I've been talking for a while. You can explain how our arrival to Bariloche was. Or I guess we had a few days in Buenos Aires in between Calafate and Bariloche. That was a nice start. We got to tour David around Buenos Aires and show him around a little bit, take him to our coffee spots. Anyways, I'll let you jump in here.
With Bariloche?
Yeah, with Bariloche.
So Bariloche is another city at the base of a popular ski resort near a lake, and has a lot of Swiss influence. You can see that in the chocolate and a lot of the buildings, Swiss-Austrian, I guess. Reportedly, there were a lot of, in World War II, not only did Jews escape to Argentina, but a lot of Nazis as well. So that's probably where this town came from. I don't know, I'm just speculating here. Rumors. And you rented the car, you got yelled at for speeding, even though there was not any speed sign.
Yeah, that police lady was like, I pulled up, I opened my window, I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, you were speeding. I'm like, what's the speed limit? She says it's, what did she say, like 40 or something kilometers per hour? And I go, where does it say that? She's like, there was a sign. It's like, I didn't see a sign. Ask Molly, ask David. There was no sign. They just made that up.
Yeah. I don't know.
Airbnb there was pretty nice. I don't know, it was kind of a cool place. Very wintry kind of town.
Yeah.
We got lucky with the weather. It was supposed to rain our entire week there. And
But it was pretty dry.
For the most part, in
snow.
Bariloche, yeah. Our first day we did that Circuito Chico.
Yep.
Through that, there's like a forest area.
That was bad weather. We couldn't see anything.
At first, yeah.
It cleared up, but it wasn't as nice as it could have been.
Right. We stopped at the Xiao Xiao, which is, I guess, the most
famous resort.
Yeah, upscale hotel in the area. We thought, okay, like, it's expensive for Argentines, but like maybe our dollars can get us a night there. And no, it is very expensive. I think it started
for
at
Americans too.
I think it started like $400 a night or something. So, but we had lunch there. That was pretty good. It's a really nice place.
We tried the Chow Chow beer.
Yes, they
cultivate a wild yeast, the Chow Chow yeast, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Xiao Xiao is like a berry, I think, endemic to the region. and they cultivated yeast from it and made a beer. It was interesting. It was pretty good.
Interesting. Yeah. I liked it. I'd have it again.
Yeah. So, right. When we were in Bariloche, we got the Etios again, but this time in a manual 6-speed, and so
Ryan was super excited.
Yeah, it was a great little car. It just felt like the gas tank never emptied, and we took it over some truly horrendous roads, and it handled it like a champ. So Bariloche, we did that circuit. We
went to the top of Cerro Cathedral.
Yeah, we got lucky. That was the first day of the season that it was open. Yeah. Some guy tried to convince us to rent snow clothes. We weren't skiing. Ski slopes weren't even open. He wanted to charge us almost as much as it cost to get up there to rent clothes per person.
Weird.
Then we started our journey up the route. That is gorgeous. I highly recommend. It's not hard to drive the route, honestly. You don't have to be such an experienced driver. I mean, I don't recommend doing it in the dead of winter, but even with the slight rainy weather that we had, the road was very well maintained. Same goes in Calafate del Chalten. I expected the roads to be horrendous, and in Ushuaia they were. It was just potholes all the way through, but we got some really fantastic roads. In Patagonia, the road of the Seven Lakes was very drivable. I highly recommend it if someone were to go down there.
I would recommend more San Martin de los Andes.
It's true.
We really liked. It felt more like a city nestled away in the mountains. I felt nicer.
I mean, it was. Bariloche has been there a lot longer. It's a lot more built up. It's a little more city-ish. I mean, it's not like Ushuaia by any measure. It's still like a tourist town primarily. The tourist center is full of shops, and people want to sell you stuff. But then, you get to San Martin. It's a fraction of the population. It's sort of nestled away between two mountains and bordered by a lake.
Mm-hmm.
And
it still felt like fall there. There was still a lot of fall foliage in the air, which I appreciated. My New England roots and having moved to California and not having what feels like to me not having any seasons.
Yeah, it felt very small towny there.
Yeah.
The nice thing was it was so walkable.
Yeah.
We barely used the car to get around while we were there. I neglected to mention one of the days we were in Bariloche, we went down to El Bolsón, which is supposedly this artist enclave. It just seemed like this random town south of Bariloche. We got some beautiful views there too, but it was just such a weird place. I don't know. It felt like small town Argentina, just in the middle of nowhere, effectively. I don't know. I'm glad we went. I wouldn't want to stay there for more than the afternoon that we were there.
I think there's probably more to do. We found a hike.
Yeah, there were a few hikes. Pretty much everywhere we went, there were hikes to be done.
Yeah. Okay, then we drove back from San Martin to
Villa Langostura.
Yes.
Which calls itself the Garden of Patagonia.
Mm-hmm.
It's an even smaller town than San Martin. It's just this little...
It's in between. So what we did, we drive from Bariloche up to San Martin, and Villa Langostura is right in the middle.
So we spent, I think, 3 nights in Bariloche, drove the route, stopped in Villa Langostura, had lunch there, went up to San Martin, spent 3 nights there, and then down to Villa Langostura for 1 night, where we rented this insanely large cabin house thing. It was totally overkill, but the price was very reasonable, I guess, because it was off season. And we ended up getting caught in a downpour, so we took the opportunity to watch a bunch of the Lord of the Rings extended editions.
Yeah.
So that was a fun way, log cabin and hot drinks.
It was warm. It was maybe the warmest I've been in Patagonia.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. And then, we finished the drive back down the route and flew back to Buenos Aires. So once we got back there, it was, David wanted to sort of sprint and see stuff. And, we were sort of a push and pull. And I get it. He was there 2 weeks and we're traveling forever. So we're like, I want to wake up late. I'll get out when I get out. We'll do stuff. Sure, later is fine. And he's like, I gotta see stuff. So we went on the city tour bus, which I initially thought was like a government-funded thing.
No.
Apparently, it's just a private company that was given some sort of permission by the city because it doesn't have any competition, and it has like marked bus stops. And it just tours you around the city, and you see everything. Double-decker buses. It's kind of cool in theory. In practice, the audio tour was basically useless. The English was not great. The audio kept like cutting itself off.
Yeah.
It would stop in the middle of a talk. It would start playing at the wrong time.
It was mostly just background music, like bad background music
Yes.
with like maybe a sentence or two, like either way earlier or way late from any sort of thing to see.
Yeah. So the nice thing was being, when we got our seats up front, we got a great view of the city.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to get around, but as a tour goes, it was pretty much useless.
Yeah. But I feel like it could have been improved so easily.
Yeah, wouldn't have taken much
Like-
effort to improve that.
Yeah. Could have gotten so much more out of it.
It's true. So, yeah, I mean, beyond that, we pretty much were back to exploring Buenos Aires. We learned how to take the subway there, which is extraordinarily cheap. Each ride is like 40 cents, effectively,
Yeah.
to anywhere in the city. That's what's been fantastic for us. I know that there's been massive inflation, 20% inflation in Argentina, so prices for locals are extraordinarily high, but the strength of the dollar is pretty significant, and so we're finding that things are still very inexpensive for us, at least in Argentina. Yeah, so at that point it was just sort of back to what we were doing before, exploring the city, finding other places to drink coffee. We went to the movies. That was an interesting experience. We saw John Wick 3 with Spanish subtitles. I think I enjoyed it a little more than Molly did. Probably didn't help that you were feeling a little sick that day either.
Yeah.
Something cool, we went out to dinner at one place. In Argentina, all meals happen late for dinner. Most restaurants are not open until 8 p.m. Even, like, you just can't. They close at 3 or 3:30, and they open at 8 for dinner. And if you want dinner beforehand, you're out of luck. You can go to, like, a tea house, and they have, like, sandwiches and stuff, but it's, like, by default, all sandwiches are ham and cheese, which doesn't help us at all. So this one place that's well known has a happy hour where they open from 6:30 to 8, and I guess it's like early bird special for us old people because they give you a 30% discount off their whole menu if you come and eat at the insanely early 6:30 p.m.
Just normal dinner time
for Americans.
For us.
Preferable, because we wanted to go see the movie later. Argentines will like go to the movie at 8 and then go get dinner at 11 or something afterwards. So for us it was fantastic. So we went, and I see people waiting outside, and I ask them in Spanish if we have to like sign in or something, and they go, "Oh, sorry, I don't speak Spanish." I go, "What?
Give him credit. He said that in Spanish.
Yeah, it's true.
He said no hablo
It's true.
español.
Yeah, that's the main phrase you want to learn if you don't speak Spanish. It was a couple from New Zealand, so we ended up chatting, and we invited them to hang out with us for dinner, and it's kind of nice to meet some people, particularly English-speaking people. I think Molly was a little Spanished out by that point. Never Spanished out?
Never.
Well, at some point the vast majority of your interaction is either with me or at that time with David, and you were probably ready to talk to some new people. So that was a cool experience, and it's nice to find a place where we can eat at American times for a lot less money.
Yeah.
So
then we flew to Santiago.
yeah, same day we split up with David. He flew back to the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Chile, flew to Santiago, and then
To catch this flight to Easter Island.
and we've
The
been
next
here.
day.
Yeah, that was last. So we flew on Tuesday to Chile.
Yep.
That night we stayed at the Hilton near the airport, just to get out. We had to be up at 4:15 in the
Yeah.
morning to
Yeah.
catch our Easter Island flight.
Yeah.
5-hour-and-a-half flight to this remote island.
It was 5 hours.
Okay.
It was like 4:55.
Okay. I think it was rated at 5.5.
Okay.
So we've been here since Wednesday, and today is Monday.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird place. I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of this, a lot of ocean and rocks, and this beautiful ocean.
The whole island is 64 square miles. Like, it's tiny. Everywhere is an ocean view.
Mm-hmm.
The topography is really weird. It's all volcanic rock, and there's just like rolling mounds. I mean, you can see it there in the background, and pretty much the whole island is just like this. The heads are nuts. I mean, they're just huge.
Yeah,
And,
the moai.
yeah, the moai. I mean, it's too bad they're not really well preserved, so you can see that they're wasting away. If you get the chance to come out here, do it sooner rather than later, because it'll only get worse. One thing we discovered was the expense on the island.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much everything gets shipped in from Chile, so food is extraordinarily expensive. Even at the supermarket, selection is pretty limited, and obviously it's not going to be as expensive as eating out, but I don't think it's really possible to get a meal, I guess per person, less than $15 is like the absolute minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to go up, but the tuna is awesome here.
And the amazing fruit juice.
Yes. You can order fruit juice here, and they'll just blend the fruit up in a blender. And I don't know if they add sugar or whatever. I think it's just the fruit.
I think it's just the fruit.
Blended fruit,
Yeah.
and they give it to you. And yeah, we've been ordering fruit juice anytime we go anywhere. We have our car rental here. Initially, we weren't sure if we're going to rent a car, how long to rent a car. We opted for 4 days in total, which we sort of broke up. We had it the second day,
we were here.
and then we've had it since yesterday until we leave on Wednesday. And Suzuki Jimny, also stick shift. And at first I was like, these gears feel loose, I can't really feel the clutch. But it's like this short wheelbase, 4-wheel drive SUV. It's like a 2+2. It's a 2-door with like 2 seats in the back and the tiniest trunk you've ever seen in your life. And this thing is awesome, and I want one now. But yeah, so that first day, our first stop was, we were told it's been raining here for like a week. Go outside and soaked up a volcano. That was our first.
Oh yeah, and we didn't have a car, so it was accessible from the place we're staying.
Right. So that was.
But once we were up there and we got all the views, we saw this rainstorm blowing in. We were like, shoot, we should head back now. We don't have a car.
You got a blister on the back of your foot.
We have the number for a taxi, but we don't have any service on our cell phones to call a taxi.
Yeah, the way we got the number is at the top of that volcano, there's like a big tourist center, and they're like, oh, we're closed already. I'm like, okay, I don't even know what this is. And they're like, do you have your ticket? I'm like, ticket to what? Apparently when you get here, you're supposed to buy a ticket, and that gives you access to all the national parks and tourist spots on the island. So the next day we went out and bought it. But in the meantime, I said, well, the rain is starting. Can you please call us a taxi? No, but here's some numbers for taxis. I see. Oh, we don't have service. Oh, there's service over there. No, there's no service. So went outside.
We went outside. There was a taxi who was like finishing up a ride, who was gonna like maybe check in on us after, but she sent us. She could sort of send us on ahead first.
Well, so I asked her if she could call. She was available. She said, no, I'm waiting for someone. I said, can you call us a taxi? She said, no, taxis don't just come up here to like pick someone up, which is weird because seriously, from the middle of town, it's maybe a 10-minute drive. I didn't really understand that, and I said, well, okay, is there any way we could like catch a ride? And she said, well, I'm just taking the person from here to like the spot maybe 150 meters away, and then I'm done, which is like, first of all, why does that person want to ride to this other spot that they'd still have to hike down? That doesn't make any sense to me. And why can't we just wait for her here? Whatever. So we started walking, and I'll let you tell this part of the story because it's kind of funny.
Well, I don't really know what happened because it was all in Spanish, but this woman who's driving and her husband in the passenger seat in a Jimny pulled up and offered us a ride, I think.
Yes.
And either way, we got in her car, so Just kidding.
I did accept the ride.
So we got in her car, and she's like, "Oh, you're like, yeah." Because at this point, it had started to rain.
Yes, it was like pouring.
It wasn't quite pouring yet, but it was like rain.
Okay.
It was rain.
It wasn't a drizzle. Let's put it that way.
Actually, you're right. It was almost pouring at that point. My memory's weird.
It's fine.
So, we're driving down the mountain, driving down the volcano, and she says, "Oh, like, where can we drop you off? Where are you staying?" And Ryan's like, "Cabañas Hinu Rinu," and she was like, "What? No way! That's where we're staying."
Yeah, Hina Riru.
Hina Riru, yeah. Like, okay, well, that was like divine providence.
Yeah, this couple from Chile just happened to be staying there, so yeah, we chatted for a bit, but it was funny because there were. Oh, that's interesting. Your phone decided that it would be time to interrupt this video. Anyways, so the cabins where we were staying, the cabañas, there's a couple different entrances, like sort of a larger complex. She said, "Oh, are you the first or the second?" We're like, "Oh, we're the second entrance." They go, "Oh, that's weird. Me too." Okay, go in. "Oh, like, which one are you staying in?" "We're in number 9. We're in number 8. Like,
It was good time.
that was awesome. I mean, just person randomly pulled up next to two people walking in the rain down the road and, "Hey, do you want to ride? Where are you staying?" Literally next door to each other in the exact same place. That was an
I feel
awesome
like
introduction.
that's what happens in Easter Island. I feel like it's just so small.
And I mean, we would have walked down, but you developed
My
sort of a blister, and so like it would have been suffering to get back down the hill at that point.
We probably would have been hitchhiking if the taxi hadn't worked out.
Yeah, you were kind of limping along at that point. So, but man, that volcano was a cool introduction to this place. Since then, it's pretty much been us driving around. Is there a bee next to me? Okay. Driving around, checking out all the heads. It doesn't take that long to loop the whole island. We've done it a couple times already. But
it's maybe a 30-minute drive to the other end.
Yeah.
Mostly because the road is not in great condition and you spend a lot of time navigating around potholes.
Right. We got a couple days of just pure rain.
Yep.
A
day and a half of pure rain. We were sort of stuck inside. We drenched our boots.
We made the mistake. We wanted to get that, was it Tangariki?
Sunrise picture.
It's like a famous picture. If you Google Easter Island, you'll probably see them, backlit against the sunrise. And we thought, let's get out there and do it, even though it's supposed to rain.
And even though it is downpouring.
We left
actively downpouring.
Like 6:45 or something in the morning. It was pitch black. Dawn here is past 8. Yeah. Pouring, horrible road conditions. I don't know. It was an awful drive. We made it out there. We're waiting. There's a few other people there in their cars waiting. It's just pouring. You can't see anything. It starts lightening up a little bit. It's all cloudy. Other people have the good sense. They've been waiting there since before we did. They left. They didn't even get out of their cars.
Or wait until sunrise.
Right. We waited until probably 7:55. And we'd been there for like
8 o'clock. We got out of the car at 8 o'clock.
It was pouring rain. I was wearing pretty much this, these shoes, my shorts, and I had my hard shell on. But we went out. I think the guard couldn't even believe that we were there. He was like amazed.
Yep.
Went out, took some pictures, just completely soaked through.
Had the whole place to ourselves, which was nice.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
But
there was a couple that showed up after us in ponchos.
Yeah, but after we got all our pictures and experience.
Yeah, no one else really gets to experience that area by itself or by themselves. It's so, it's packed with tourists constantly. So, went home and it took a couple days for our shoes to dry. That was kind of nothing ever dries here. This place is pretty humid. We didn't have a fan. There's no oven. There's no.
Yeah, no heat source really.
Yeah, we use our towels. We wait a day. They're still damp.
Yeah.
Nothing ever dries. I'm glad we gave ourselves this much time. We were a little concerned. Okay, 7 nights on Easter Island. It's a tiny place. There's not that much to do. That's not, but it sort of depends if you want to explore. There's some really nice hikes. We did one yesterday that take up your time. If you just want to hit the sites and be out of here, if you get lucky with the weather, you could really just be here for 2 full days and probably see everything.
Yeah. I wouldn't say you see everything, but you see all like the big sites.
Right.
But you would be
You see the highlights.
sharing a lot of spaces with other tourists.
And it's not that fun to rush around a place like this. The whole point is to sort of relax.
Vacation.
Yeah. But it's just such a weird place. I think the first road wasn't built until 1985, so it's sort of like undeveloped parts. You find yourself out here, totally isolated feeling. I don't know. So far, a month into the trip, I feel like it's been awesome. I've gotten a lot of use of my Spanish. It's been invaluable. Work has been, while I'm in Buenos Aires, it's been easy and pretty easy to keep up. When we're on our excursions, it's been a little more challenging. Particularly, I mean, this week I'm not working at all. It's not even possible. I don't know. I'm excited to keep going. I'm excited to get back. We're not going back to Buenos Aires for a while. We're still heading back to Santiago. We're going up to the Atacama Desert. Yeah, we've got some more adventures before we even head back to Buenos Aires. But
That's
nice to have that home base.
Mostly unplanned.
Yeah, we haven't even booked any
We just have our
places to
flights.
stay. Yeah.
Our flights up to the northern part of Chile, and that's it. We still have to figure. But
We're barely keeping up in
yeah,
terms of planning.
we're not worried.
It's worked out so far. We
Yeah.
made last minute car rental decisions, last minute bookings. It's worked out. So yeah, what's your feeling on the trip so far?
It's hard to believe it's only been a month because I feel like this has been my whole life of just travel. It's been really nice to like get 8+ hours of sleep a night. It's nice not having to like rush around to do everything. I feel like, you know, it's nice that we're like on the same wavelength about not needing to go rush around to see everything and do everything, and it's okay if, you know, if we spend a rainy day watching
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings,
Which
yeah.
we finished here on Easter Island,
Yeah.
by the way.
Because it was pouring and our shoes were wet and there was literally nothing else that
No
we could
internet.
possibly be doing.
Yeah, one room.
Yeah.
Got a little cabin fever there.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a little tired of my clothing options. I'm ready to go shopping and get some cuter outfits. I'm growing tired of...
The one bag thing has been great for me.
Yeah, no. I would not take away having one backpack and like traveling with that.
Carry on
But
only.
I want some like cute things to wear. I want like cute shoes to wear, especially like in Buenos Aires, where I mean, your grandmother still wears heels. I don't even wear heels. I feel like I just don't belong.
I feel comfortable. I'm wearing the same 3 t-shirts I always wear. I have shorts, I have pants, I have shoes, and that's pretty much all I need.
Yeah, it's easy for you. I'm struggling.
I feel like our winter wear held up. At least my layers were pretty good. Pack away nicely, and I think we experienced pretty much the coldest weather we'll be experiencing on this trip. Not today, obviously. It's like 70 degrees out.
I have another struggle with, because we opted to use bar shampoo and conditioner, which work. I mean, they work pretty well. My only complaint is that, like, I never want to wear my hair down because it feels like it's like, I don't know, the conditioner makes it like just a little too greasy. There's like no real way to like
Limit it.
make it look normal, like when I use my high quality shampoo and conditioner. And I don't have a hair straightener, so I can't do anything with my hair, so I wear it up all the time or under a hat, but obviously couldn't really wear a knit hat on Easter Island, so that was just weird.
My hair's normal. It does the same thing it normally does, except it's too long and it gets in my But yeah, our equipment's been holding up pretty well.
Mhm.
I don't feel like I've been lacking so much. Most of the things that we were lacking, we've already made adjustments to. I'm still in the midst of writing a blog post talking about my gear, my selection, what I've changed. There's a good chance that that article will go up before this video goes up, or it could be vice versa. The amount of time and effort it takes to label the items on the picture has taken an obscenely long amount of time, so that's what's slowing me down. But overall, I'm pretty happy with our selection. I think our gear has been holding up pretty well.
Yeah.
I've had a fantastic time on the trip so far, and I have no intention of stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, no, I'm not ready to go back at all. We still have at least 14 months left. We've already
14 plan.
semi talked about ending our
Extending.
trip and then
Looping back.
just looping back to Patagonia.
Yeah,
and
we
hitting
really-
that in their springtime.
Right, because as nice as it was being there, we were sort of coming into winter, and it's fine if you want to do winter sports, but like Calafate, El Chaltén, those are really places that don't exist in the winter time, and we really want to explore them further. It's worth going back, so we're toying with the idea of heading back during their springtime
Yeah.
and spending more time in Patagonia.
Yeah.
So it's been excellent so far.
Just take it all in. Easter Island.
And we should be doing these updates more frequently, so hopefully the videos won't be quite as long in the future. They won't be month-long recaps of activity.
But
So.
seriously, if you just like fast forwarded through this whole thing until the end, that's totally fine.
Yeah,
I'm fine
we-
with that too.
We didn't expect people to watch all the way through. This was just sort of for whoever wants to hear everything about what we've done so far.
If for anyone who forgot how wonderful Ryan's voice is and missed Ryan's voice,
Yeah, if you wanted to hear me complain at you.
probably 45-minute video of Ryan's voice.
All right, well, I guess we'll end it there.